off-Broadway production of The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, written by Jethro, Compton, based on the short story by Dorothy M. Johnson, directed by Thomas R. Gordon, presented by the Onomatopoeia Theater Company and the Gene Frankel Theater at the Gene Frankel Theater at 24 Bond Street in New York City through July 26th. No lie, you can support this channel and my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee, by being a patron over on my Patreon page for as little as $1 a month. Patrons get early access to the latest episode, as well as quick reviews of the latest shows I've seen, usually before they get posted here. Thank you to my current patrons, especially my Neo and Hamilton patrons, and welcome to the new ones. Links to my Patreon and podcast pages will be in the description. I'm always thrilled to visit a small theater, especially real intimate ones like the Gene Frankel Theater in NoHo. The facade doesn't leave much to be desired, but once you step inside and take a seat in the theater and experience the fantastic little set designed by Nino Amari for The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, you're whisked away to the Old West in a little saloon in the little town of Two Trees, where Ransome Foster, played by Leighton Samuels, is brought in by Bert Barricune, played by Samuel Shurtleff. Ransome has been attacked by Liberty Valance, played by Chariton, and his gang after Ransome stood up to protect a black man from being accosted by Liberty and his gang. At the saloon, Ransome is brought back to health by Hallie Jackson, the establishment's owner, played by Mary Blake, with the assistance of her employee Jim the Reverend Mosten, played by Daniel Kornegay. Now, if you're familiar with the film, with James Stewart, John Wayne, and Lee Marvin, you're going to notice some changes. It's probably why the play says it's based off the short story and not the film. Actually, the website says it sticks to the short story more than the film did. So if something sounds different, it's because of the adaptation being closer to the short story than it is to the film. The play follows Ransome, who has a background in law, and starts teaching some of the people, notably both Jim, who is black, and Hallie, how to read, which causes a commotion with some people, notably Liberty, Bert, and the local constable, Marshal Johnson, played by Scott Zimmerman, as they feel that education will only make people uppity and want to create a government that will tame the wild nature of the West. Liberty in particular knows that if order comes, he won't have the free reign of criminality that he currently has. After tragedy strikes at the hands of Liberty, Ransome, who has no experience with gunplay, must choose to face the deadly killer or flee the town. Now that's the premise, which is pretty simple and classic Western entertainment. But what makes The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance matter is more than just being a classic Western. It's even more than a message of racism, standing up to bigotry and other issues like gun control and women's autonomy. At the root of the story is control and power through the perpetuation of ignorance, something that is prevalent here in 2025 just as much as it was in 1890 when the bulk of this play is set. Criminals run rampant with power when the people allow themselves to be willfully ignorant and uneducated, not knowing what their rights are and having the knowledge and skills to take control of the world they live in and bring order and justice to their land. Without it, the only justice that exists comes from the end of a gun, which isn't really justice at all. It's no coincidence, I'm sure, that Liberty Valance is just one letter away from Liberty Balance. This is another thing the play addresses, the balance between individual liberty and civil liberty. The two sometimes conflict with each other as what one views as their right as an individual impedes on the overall liberty of the people. This is addressed in a few great discussions between Ransome and the people in town, including a satisfyingly tense and lengthy discussion between Ransome and Liberty in the second act. Leighton Samuels and Jack Chariton cover the whole saloon in the scene, with Liberty testing Ransome's resolve, taking every opportunity to break his nerve like a cat stalking and teasing its prey. It's gratifying theater as Thomas R. Gordon keeps the tension tight, never makes the scene feel overlong, and makes Jack Chariton, who is nearly a head shorter than Leighton Samuels, feel like a giant as Liberty's squaring off against Ransome. Leighton Samuels does a great job with everyone in the cast as he is on stage for most of the play, from the charming repartee he has as Ransome with Hallie, and the comical scene he has with Daniel Kornegay as Ransome and the Reverend get to know each other, nearly finishing a bottle of whiskey between them in a matter of minutes. There are a few issues I have with the production, and most of it has to do with design and the use of narration. First, the bar and the costumes are all too clean. When Ransome comes in after being beaten at the beginning of the play, he should look a bit worn and torn. Also, the bar could use some texturing and aging. Second, which is the only real book complaint I have, is that there are audio narrative moments throughout that play during scene changes. The play bookends with a funeral set 20 years later, and there is a reporter that is featured in the prologue. Since the reporter, Jake Dowitt, played by Dillon Collins, who is collecting the story of Ransome and Liberty from 20 years prior, it would make sense for him to be on stage playing the narrator, especially since he doesn't really have anything else to do the rest of the play. Give the actor more to do. It puts a face to the dialogue, and it wouldn't take much work to rework the dialogue to have it work for Jake's point of view. Like I said, I love finding little productions like this in New York City. The house is intimate, making the drama all the more intense as we are practically sitting in a saloon. The cast is great, the story is timely, and it is well-executed theater. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be links to my Patreon and podcast pages and my social media handles where you can follow me and support my work. You can also support me by liking and sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be Goodspeed Musicals' production of All Shook Up. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.